how a movie ends is arguably its most crucial element. No matter how amazing the preceding hour or two have been, a crappy ending can undo it all. I'm looking at you, the devil inside. Nobody wants your f***ing website link. Given the importance of a great ending, directors often toy with a few different ideas before a film's final cut is released to moviegoers en masse. Sometimes these alternate endings can be superior to the finale that made it to the big screen. But more often than not, there's a reason we get the endings that we do. And that's because the alternative was pretty stupid. With that in mind, I'm Ash from What Culture, and these are 10 alternative endings that almost ruined horror movies. 10. The Blair Witch Project. The proper ending sees film students Heather and Mike hear their missing friend Josh's cries for help and follow them to a creepy abandoned house. We see Mike standing in the corner facing the wall before Heather is also attacked, then everything goes silent and our camera cuts out. The distributors felt that the Blair Witch Project's finale was too ambiguous, so had co-directors Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez shoot a number of alternative endings that included Mike hung on a noose and crucified on one of the Blair Witch's stickmen figures. You really got the short end of the stick there.
Ha ha!
Myrick and Sanchez voiced their concern that they felt the original finale was far more effective and scary in its ambiguity, and went ahead despite artisans' belief that the confusing ending could cost them millions. Blair Witch then went on to make a massive $248.6 million at the box office against a $60,000 budget. 9. A Nightmare on Elm Street. After apparently vanquishing Springwood's resident spectral child murderer Freddy Krueger by telling him he ain't shit, heroine Nancy Thompson skips off outside to a seemingly normal day, with her mother no longer a raging wino and her friends still alive waiting to drive her to school in her boyfriend's convertible. How sweet, a happy ending. But wait, there's a twist. It turns out that Nancy is still asleep and it's all a dream within a dream within a dream. The convertible controlled by Krueger speeds off as Nancy's mother is dragged through the door by Freddy to an inevitably gruesome death. If director Wes Craven had his way, the movie would have ended after Nancy woke up and met with her friends. Basically, A Nightmare on Elm Street would have ended with the ultimate cop-out, the "it was all a dream" trope, which is quite possibly one of the laziest moves in fiction. 8. The Descent. After the killer troglodytes have picked off the group one by one, only protagonist Sarah and frenemy Juno remain. Sarah stabs Juno in the leg with a pickaxe, well, she did have an affair with a dead husband after all, and leaves her for the flesh-hungry cave dwellers, but is knocked unconscious before she escapes. Sarah swiftly awakens, however, and manages to get out of there and drives away, only to be startled by a ghostly apparition of Juno next to her. The scene cuts back to the cave where Sarah awakens, apparently having hallucinated her escape. While unconscious and the camera pans out, we hear the terrifying screeches of the cave creatures advancing upon her. If you had the misfortune of seeing The Descent in an American cinema, then the film actually ended after that Ghost of Juno jump scare when Sarah escapes the caves. The reason? The remaining footage that shows Sarah back in the caves and about to be eaten alive was deemed too depressing and dark for American audiences. Oh, come on, guys. 7. Little Shop of Horrors. Seymour Krelborn saves his beloved Audrey from the clutches of a megalomaniac namesake Audrey II, and realising the flesh-hungry plant's plans for world domination, Seymour electrocutes him into Kingdom Come in a final showdown. We then see a married Seymour and Audrey arriving at the all-American suburban home Audrey sang about in Somewhere That's Green, before the camera pans down to a perfectly manicured flower bed that appears to be nurturing a baby Audrey II. Oh dear. In keeping with the original Little Shop of Horrors stage play, director Frank Oz ended his film with a far more depressing finale that saw Seymour and Audrey eaten by Audrey II, who then goes forth and multiplies into an army of killer plants who take over the world. 6. The Fly. Man-fly hybrid Seth Brundle abducts his pregnant girlfriend Veronica Quaife and whisks her away to his lab to fuse him, her and their unborn baby into one ghastly abomination via his telepods. With the help of her sleazy boss and ex-boyfriend Stathish, she manages to escape while Brundlefly accidentally fuses himself to his own telepod. Oops. Realising the monstrosity he's become, Brundlefly begs Veronica to end his suffering, so she mercy kills him by blasting his head off. Now that's true love. Originally, director David Cronenberg tacked on a strange epilogue set several months later that sees Veronica and Stathis now a couple, with the former having aborted Brundlefly's baby and gotten pregnant again by Stathis. Jesus, this woman's life is complicated. 5. The Shining. In the final scene, we see the camera zoom in on an old photograph of an Overlook Hotel soiree dated 1921, with Jack Torrance front and centre, grinning that unmistakable maniacal grin of his, and we're left asking what the hell it all means. The creepily confusing ending was originally The Shining's penultimate scene, followed by another that showed Wendy and Danny safely recovering from their ordeal in hospital and being visited by the Overlook Hotel's manager Ullman, who informs Wendy that Jack's body hasn't yet been located before giving Danny a yellow tennis ball suspiciously similar to the one that lured him into room 237 earlier in the film. Cutting away from the Overlook Hotel and randomly reintroducing Ullman, who we only saw very briefly at the start of the film, clearly didn't work, and director Stanley Kubrick had the scene removed a week after The Shining's original release. 4. Dawn of the Dead. When a group of looting bikers break into the shopping mall and overrun it with hordes of the undead, Peter insists Fran escape to the roof and leave via their helicopter, whilst he stays behind and kills himself. Understandable. But changes his mind last minute and punches his way through the advancing zombies like a boss before making his way to the chopper. And off Fran and Peter fly into a rather uncertain future. Although this ending never made it to filming, George A. Romero originally intended to conclude his film with a scene in which Peter does indeed end up shooting himself in the head. And then Fran one-ups him by committing suicide via running headfirst into a rotating helicopter blade. Gruesome. Apparently, Romero decided this was a little too depressing even for a zombie apocalypse movie. As fun as watching someone's head get eviscerated by a chopper blade sounds, it's not like the original ending is all that upbeat. 3. The Thing. After seeing the majority of the Antarctica-based research crew assimilated and maimed by the titular Thing, director John Carpenter ends his cult classic on an open-ended note, with protagonist MacReady and his surviving colleague Childs, both suspecting the other is hosting the Thing creature, sitting outside the ruins of their blown-up research base. In a far cheerier and far inferior finale, MacReady is rescued and takes a blood test that proves he hasn't been assimilated by the Thing and is still human. How happy, how conclusive, how Hollywood. A less ambiguous ending and a definite survivor would have left the Thing wide open to who knows how many terrible sequels that you just know would have destroyed the sanctity of the original film. 2. Alien. Our heroine Ellen Ripley and Jones the Cat are the sole survivors of the Nostromo crew, after narrowly escaping the ship via a shuttle pod before it self-destructs. But wait, there's a sneaky xenomorph stowed away on the shuttle. Fear not though, this is Ellen Ripley, and she's hard as nails. She quickly ejects the alien via the airlock and incinerates it into Kingdom Come before leaving a log detailing the demise of the Nostromo crew and drifting off into sweet hypersleep with her kitty sidekick. In the alternative, the xenomorph gets the better of Ripley and rips her head off before assuming her voice, and leaving the same log with the intention of tricking anyone who should find the shuttle into thinking it contains the precious cargo that is Ripley, and more importantly Jones, rather than an alien about to destroy all of humanity. It's just a bit much, really. 1. Get Out. After our hero Chris has killed most of the awful Armitage family, he's grappling with Rose when we see a police car rock up to the scene. Being a racist harpy, Rose plays the helpless white woman card. We assume the scene will go down the way a lot of similar situations seem to go down in America, with the wrongful arrest of a black man. But then writer-director Jordan Peele pulls the best cinematic switcheroo in recent history, revealing that the driver of the car is actually Chris's best friend Rod. The alternate ending played out much the way the audience expects it to, with 2 police officers emerging from the car and arresting Chris. We then see Chris in a prison jumpsuit doing time for the murder of the Armitage family while Rod visits him to try and find out what went down with Chris, simply replying, "I'm good, I stopped it." A finale of this nature would have drastically changed the tone of Get Out, but luckily for us, the alternative didn't prove very popular. So Peele went with his more upbeat, subversive finale and gave us a befitting ending to the best horror movie of 2017.